Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Jake Silver Show. After 16 long months of being held as a political prisoner by Mossad, I am now back to making content, posting it on YouTube for you all to enjoy. Getting straight into it, the Trump administration has seen better times over the past 6 months. Pretty tumultuous at this point, losing a lot of the MAGA supporters with the Epstein issues in Iran. Nobody wanted to go to war on either side. And right now, it's just not looking too good. Midterms coming up in 2026, and the Republicans are looking to lose a lot if they're losing about 10% of their MAGA supporters. So, that being said, Trump defends embattled Attorney General Pam Bondi, saying nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein. The gaslighting on this one is unreal. I get some PTSD from his statements. I felt like I was dealing with a toxic ex. And he claimed that the Epstein files were written by former presidents Obama and Biden and Hillary Clinton. So now the files were written by former presidents and Hillary Clinton. It wasn't something that you campaigned on. It wasn't something that gained you so much support from people undecided on voting on Trump. It boosted support and morale by people who were already dead set on Trump. It made them even more excited. Fuck yeah, we're going to find out who these pedophiles are that are running the world. Nope, the list never existed. Trump went to his social media platform Truth Social earlier today and says, "What's going on with my boys, and in some cases gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening." He continued to question why people were giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she's looking into as Attorney General, and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Trump. Everybody cares about it. And the fact of the matter is, we know the list exists. We're being gaslit into oblivion to believe that it doesn't exist and that the topic at hand does not matter. We know the most powerful people in the world are on this list, including Donald Trump. I'm a firm believer that he is on the list. The only explanation as to why it's not been released. But unfortunately, that list will never be revealed. It may be in 60, 70 years from now. This is the largest government cover-up since the assassination of President Kennedy. The Department of Justice and FBI conclude Epstein had no client list, that he died by suicide. The memo says the FBI enhanced the relevant footage by increasing its contrast, balancing the color, and improving its sharpness for greater clarity and viewability. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if you guys have seen this footage, but it's missing a very critical minute, I believe. And who's to say what happened in the fucking minute? But it's not there. But trust me, the FBI is the most honest and reliable source of investigative work that we can depend on in times like these. No, they didn't delete the footage. They claim that the security system resets, therefore some time was missing from the footage. Did he escape? Did he kill himself? Was he murdered? Nobody knows, but it's been 6 years now, and there's still no answers. Ghislaine Maxwell is still locked up set to be released in, I believe, 2037. There's some footage of her doing some exercise in her low-security prison in Tallahassee. I believe she's in. And I'm sure she's having a great time in there. That's not the prison that me and you would go to. She's got it pretty sweet over there, so she's serving out the rest of her time there. For what reason, I don't know. Free Ghislaine Maxwell. At this point, she's innocent. There's no client list. By the looks of it, Jeffrey Epstein was the one raping these children and killing these children, and it was all Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. There was no blacklisting involved of the most powerful people in the world. There's no reason to believe that, and quite frankly, we're sick of talking about Jeffrey Epstein, so move the fuck on. We have bigger issues at hand, according to Donald Trump, and you got to protect the pedophiles. Someone has to speak out for these pedophiles. Someone has to be a safe haven for these constantly persecuted people. Like FBI Director Kash Patel said, we don't want to re-victimize the woman involved. So there is no list. Forget about it. You'll never hear about it again. America, please move on. Investigators found no incriminating client list of Epstein's, no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals, and no evidence that predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties, this memo adds. Again, Trump ran on this hard. It was a part of the care package deal that you got when you voted for Trump, and if he were to get elected president. You were going to find out about vaccines. You were going to have peace in the Middle East again. And to some people, most importantly, your Epstein list was going to get released. Remember on the White House lawn when they invited the TikTok influencers? Yeah, it was all a stage. It was all a hoax. And we're never going to get that list. So don't lose any sleep waiting on it. Like Trump says, why are we still talking about this? That creepy guy. This just goes to show how disconnected these politicians are from the concerns of the American people. They believe, respectfully so, that we're dumb. And if they move on from it in the media, then we'll move on from it in our lives and remove it from the list of things that we care about. I'm sure you guys have heard about Elon Musk breaking up with Donald Trump. Amidst all this, Elon's come out to say that he wants to create his own political party, his essentially a third party. He wants to call the party the America Party. He says it'll change U.S. politics. Experts disagree. The billionaire says the America Party will challenge the system, but third-party bids rarely make it far in the United States. Bernard Tomas, a professor of political science out at Valdosta State University, says, "At this moment in American politics, I see no evidence that you're going to get another party winning seats in Congress and actually being able to have an impact in the government," Tomas says. Trump says Musk is off the rails and calls his new political party ridiculous. He says it's not just the money that Democrats and Republicans have. They have all the resources. They have the money. They have 150 years of structure. They have all the professional politicians. They have all the consultants. And they have all the Madison Avenue ad companies working for them. And they have the Epstein files. There is no timeline that exists where a third or major political party is built from the ground up and is a true contender to Democrats and Republicans. They will forever be the two-headed beast that runs our lives. And until the structure of our government is completely dismantled and rebuilt from the ground up, we will always be victim to the evil that is in place in our Congress and in our companies around the world. Unfortunately, that's just what it's going to take for anyone's lives to truly change. At this point, it's been fully exposed that birds of a feather flock together. And the Epstein files are so critical in proving that fact. The Trump administration severely dropped the ball, and I understand not release. I never expected the Epstein files or flight logs to be released, or the evidence of the most powerful people in the world being blackmailed. I personally never expected them to be released. But for the administration to come out and say that they never existed and that there is no evidence of blackmailing is absolutely diabolical. The FDA gives full approval to Moderna COVID shot for at-risk kids. This is particularly interesting because just a couple of months ago, RFK Jr. was telling us how we're going to figure out autism by September. Of course, associating the spiked autism rates to vaccines in general. And we're almost in September, and now the FDA is encouraging at-risk kids between the age of 6 months all the way up to 12 years old to get the COVID shot. I think it's very interesting coming from a guy like RFK Jr. I think he's a wild guy. He's got a lot of wacky thoughts out there on health and vaccines in general. I'm not a big proponent. I'm not a huge supporter of vaccines, but if you want to get vaccines, go and get vaccines. You want to get a COVID shot, get all the fucking COVID shots you want. You just can't force them into my body or my daughter's body or anyone who doesn't want them. But for RFK Jr. to, we're gonna figure out the vaccines. We're gonna figure out autism. We're gonna remove everything from your food that's unhealthy. Cool. Work on that. But now the FDA gives full approval for at-risk kids to get the COVID jab. So, shocking to me. But at this point, nothing shocking. Honestly, this administration is doing a complete 180 from any of the things it ran on. It almost feels like the Democrat Party is still in office, aside from the government cuts and things like that. But war is at an all-time high. We don't have any peace. We don't have any peace deals with Hamas. Netanyahu basically has an office at the White House now. And it's honestly disgusting what this country's come to. It's a great revelation that's happening in our world. And it starts with our country and showing how we aren't the most powerful country in the world. The most powerful and influential country in the world is Israel, and everyone's afraid to say it. I think Netanyahu went to the White House twice in the past 5 years, and now he's been there, I think, 3 or 4 times in the past 4 or 5 months. And it's obvious to me and so many people that whatever Israel wants done, it goes straight to the United States to get it done. Check out the Abraham Accord. Go ahead and look into that. And the billboards of the picture of Trump and with the Saudis and Netanyahu, that billboard went straight up. I'm pretty sure it was right after we had bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. But it's out there in the streets, and that's what they want to do. The Jews want to rebuild the temple, and I think Netanyahu might be the Antichrist. I don't. I'm kidding. I don't think he is, but the major problem with this country, and because I do truly, it's a Christian nation that we live in, but the problem with this country amongst Christians is that whenever you speak to a conservative Christian, you realize that they have this strong belief and desire to protect Israel at all costs. And protecting Israel is different from being Israel's hitman. The old Genesis states that the Israelites are God's chosen people. And whether or not you want to debate over the current people of Israel are the actual Israelites, that's another topic. But the old Genesis says that Israelites are God's chosen people, and therefore they believe that us as a Christian nation, the United States, that we should protect them. But that's not the case. In the New Testament, it says that God's chosen people was spread to all of the Gentiles. And it's frustrating when you try to have political conversations with these super conservative Christians who are 100% in full support of Israel and any type of Zionist agenda. Because it's what's eating this country away from the inside out. The Zionist agenda not only runs our media and social media, our pop culture influence, it strongly runs our government and any type of major choices that happen from the top down. And I knew this about Trump for a very long time. And unfortunately, his true colors are being shown. I'll never wish for any president to fail. I hope that Trump grows a backbone with Israel and really puts America first like he says. I won't hold my breath on any president to do so now or in the future. But we need it. We need something to happen. We need our focus to be reverted to the American people. And use our military to protect our people and not start wars overseas. I was talking with my good friend the other day, and I was telling him about... Hold on. I'm thirsty. But I was telling him about how the greatest president ever and ever will be is George Washington. And I was just rereading on some facts on George Washington, and he... I saw it was interesting that he surrendered the control of the military back to the civilians of America. And nowadays we don't think of our military like that. We think of our military as a proponent or as a branch of the government, power is utilized by the government, not by the citizens of the United States. We have no direct access to the military. and they definitely don't work in our interest most of the time. So I just thought it was interesting that George Washington, truly believed that the military was for the civilians, and it's definitely not that way now. Authors suggest Democrats should embrace pornography to win back young men. Ellie Mistel, a left-wing writer, claims adult content is free speech. Democrats should defend against Republican regulation. He suggested that Democrats might have difficulty persuading straight white men that free Palestine flags are included in one's right to exercise free speech, but says it will be easy to persuade men that pornography is free speech. Honestly, amazing idea. Democratic men, or men, especially white men who are liberal Democrats, are generally weak men. Whether that be physically or emotionally, spiritually, they're generally weaker men. And weak men tend to love pornography. And this is an amazing idea. This is a revolutionary concept for the Democratic Party. At all of their rallies now, they could just have a Pornhub banner, and they can have porn stars just passing out random shit, random merch at their rallies. You'll have Bernie Sanders up on stage with a couple porn stars next to him while he talks. I think it's a terrific idea for them. It's really right up their alley for their target demographic here. Israeli forces, this is just today, Israeli forces kill 110 in Gaza, including 34 aid seekers. Israeli forces have killed at least 110 Palestinians. Attacks across Gaza on Saturday, according to medical sources, including 34 people waiting for food rations at the United States-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in southern Rafah. Israeli forces fired directly at Palestinians in front of the GHF site in Al-Shakush area in Rafah on Saturday, witnesses told Al Jazeera. The United Nations and rights groups have slammed these hubs as human slaughterhouses and death traps. Other Israeli attacks on Saturday included bombings that killed 14 Palestinians in Gaza City, 4 of them in a residence on Jaffa Street in the Tufa area. That assault also injured 10 others. Israeli forces also hit 2 residential buildings in Jabalia, northern Gaza, killing 15 people, according to medical sources. Strikes on the Shati refugee group west of Gaza City left 7 more dead. And to top it all off, later on Saturday, the Israeli military attacked Beit Hanun in northern Gaza with approximately 40 airstrikes. Whew. And again, Netanyahu was here for 4 days. I think he left yesterday or today. And there's no ceasefire. Israel's going to keep on pounding the shit out of Hamas, pounding the shit out of Palestinians, and just straight up war crimes being committed seemingly every day. Children, women, pregnant women dying. These people waiting for food rations at the GHF. It's absolutely insane what's going on over there, and the United States is 100% backing Israel. Like I said, all you got to do is a little bit of your own research, and you'll see where the tunnels lead, if you know what I'm saying. Well, that's it for episode 10. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you next week.